Hello, and welcome to episode 161 of the Colbycast, your place for community and conversation about pop culture and storytelling. If you caught the last episode, Ross Holliman, Tom Gross, and I put together the 2024 Colbycast Summer Playlist up to 2000 Soundtrack Edition. There's just too much good music to limit ourselves to one list, so we only chose songs from movies that were released before the year 2000. It was so nice, we're going to do it twice. So, on this episode, Ross and Tom are back to help me put together the 2024 Colby Cast Summer Playlist 2000 to 2024 Soundtrack Edition. Welcome back again, Ross.
Hey, awesome to be here. And you know what? Missing Luke, missing Caleb, but I get you and Tom, so this is pretty cool.
We're good consolation prizes. And speaking of Tom, welcome back, Mr. Gross.
Yes, glad to be back. This is great. Last week was awesome. Our last episode was awesome, and I'm looking forward to continuing this conversation with you guys to the present day.
I have to tell you that I'm really good at titling things, and I'm just blown away by my skills with this 2024 Colbycast Soundtrack Playlist 2000 to 2024 Soundtrack Edition. Really. Yeah, maybe we should workshop that. Well, listen, we've got the whole summer in front of us, and one thing is for sure it's going to be filled with great music. We've already put together 15 magnificent songs from blockbuster movies, as I've said. And I'm so looking forward to seeing what we come up with this new playlist because, like I said, it's from 2000 until now. We were just talking about this before the episode. This was a little bit more challenging, wasn't it? I have found personally soundtracks in general they've changed. They're just not the same as they were, pre 2000. I think there wasn't as much emphasis on soundtracks for movies nowadays, in my opinion. What did you guys find with putting your lists together compared to the first list that we created?
Yeah, well, I was glad to hear that you guys had a struggle as well because I thought it was just me. It was really hard. I mean, I talked to people about this. I was like, I am struggling to find soundtrack for or songs from movies that would be great for a summer soundtrack. And I probably talked to about 5 or 6 people, and all of them sat there just like me going, hmm. And then they would just name movies that I never heard of or that I'd never seen. I was like, oh boy, this is gonna be a stretch. So I mentioned before we started recording, I have 5 songs. So I hope I don't lose any to you. I'll be frantically searching. I've got some backups in my head, but yeah, my list right now just is sitting at 5. So no, I found it to be challenging, and I think part of it is that I don't watch as many movies as an adult as I used to as a teenager. But I do like my list though, so looking forward to sharing it.
I have a lot from the early 2000s. But then I forced myself to go back and find some that are a little bit more recent. They're more in my uh, honorable mention list or reserve list. My top 5, it's early on. I'm just like, oh, this is just a continuation of what happened in the 90s. Um, but I do have, I think, some good ones that are in my additional list should I need to go to them.
I'm excited to do this second list, so let's get to it. I did want to ask you, do we want to change things up a little bit? Do you want to sacrifice Mr. Holliban on the altar of the music playlist and make him go first?
Ross, you want the pole position?
Tom, this is absolutely your call. I'm comfortable. You could put me in 1, 2, or 3, and I think I can make it work.
Oh, um, yeah, yeah. You're in Indianapolis. It's the Indy 500. Take the pole position, Ross.
We are here, and that's so exciting to get because right out of the gate, I'm going with an older song from a 2000 movie. This is Tiny Dancer by Elton John from Almost Famous.
Oh,
In just an amazing scene from a film. Mary Purdue, shout out to you, being the huge Elton John fan that you are. But you can go look on YouTube just for the Almost Famous Tiny Dancer scene and watch that clip. And if you don't get chills, you may not have a pulse either, so you probably want to go to the hospital.
First of all, I love this song. I love it because it's an Elton John song. I've listened to it my whole life. Um, I've never seen Almost Famous though. Although I am familiar with the movie poster, it's pretty popular, right? It's got that tight shot of the lady with sunglasses on.
Kate Hudson.
Yeah, yeah, and I've heard that it's great. Another one that Mr. Greg McLaughlin needs to put on my list of movies that I haven't seen. But yeah, fantastic song. I mean, wait, by the way, are we doing a cookout again like last time, or is this a beach party, or maybe a long drive?
Yeah, we're on a road trip now. We're going to New York to see Huey Lewis in the News.
Yes.
Okay, and leading us out of town is Tiny Dancer from Almost Famous. I love it. Love it. Tom, are you familiar with this movie?
I'm familiar with the movie. I've not seen it, however, but I want to say it was referenced. I want to say it was referenced during the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee of who was it? I mean, Elton's years ago, but it was Elton's like musical partner this last year. Anyway, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, Bernie Taupin.
That's it. Yeah, I believe so. I think the movie was referenced there and sort of brought it back into the under the radar for me, but again, didn't make it to it. But oh, this song is great. What a like I'm feeling it. You're backing out of the driveway or pulling onto the expressway and this comes on.
Guys, I'm excited, even without watching the whole film, for you to go just even watch the clip. And then if that doesn't make you want to watch the movie, I'll be shocked.
I want to make a note and just check this out based on you speaking so highly of just that one scene.
Yeah, and I've probably watched it. I've probably watched the film at least 10 times, probably much more than that. It's awesome.
Oh, and I got to say that one of the things that I giggle about every time I hear Tiny Dancer is the joke that Phoebe from that sitcom Friends would say when she said she was singing the song and instead of saying Tiny Dancer, she said "Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza."
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Well, way to kick things off. That's a high standard. That's a high bar to set. Tom, you ready for your second one?
I am. I am. And okay, so the song is a magnificent song. But it's not like that, like like let's, roll down the windows and shout out the windows. It's super like internal and get you moving and get you into a mood. So I'm going to continue that feel with a song from a movie that I know all of us have watched. And I suspect most of us, if not all three of us, have talked about on a podcast at some point because the movie I'm referring to is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Florence and the Machine, Dog Days Are Over.
Beautiful.
I feel it fits so well with Tiny Dancer and just sort of it's just sort of that like let's get it let's get into the summer. Let's ease into this road trip and I have a feeling it's going to kick up and the heat's going to get hot, but we're right now just we're going to groove, we're going to just enjoy this. We're going to close our eyes and let the winter go and really bask in the opening days of summer on this road trip. So I just this song, I love this song outside of the context of it being in a movie, but B, I remember Dan's there looking over at me like, dude, I know you love this song.
Yes.
When it came on during Guardians, and I was like, oh, this is so great. I'm so happy right now. And so I don't really have anything else to say about it other than make sure you listen to it because it's a fantastic song.
Yeah, it is. I have another Florence and the Machine song available should I need to go there.
Ooh.
But like I imagine them at an outdoor amphitheater watching them play. Like
Mm.
it's not in an arena, it's not in a small club. Like it is that open picnic environment, and it is just enjoying them playing, and what better song than this one for them?
I just think that this song and the scene in the movie that it's in, it's just so perfect. No spoilers because it's the last scene, one of the last scenes in the movie. But to me, it's just pure joy. What a wonderful way to end a movie and a trilogy, right? And it's such a memorable movie moment. It's an amazing song on its own, but then their usage of it, I think, is just next level. I love it. I love the energy. And I love the energy that we're starting this road trip on. Yeah, wait, are we in a convertible or are we just putting the windows down?
Are we back in the family truckster?
Oh, family truckster.
It's got to be the family
Yeah.
truckster.
I'm laying down in the back if I'm not driving.
Wait, you're not in the back seat that faces backwards, that family truckster?
No, no, definitely not that one. My knees would not fit in
Okay,
that
the
seat.
luggage is back there.
Well, I love the energy that we're going for, and I have a decision to make. I'm I'm gonna go with my number two song because it might just fit perfectly in here. So I'm going to call an audible. Hopefully, I don't get confused down the road. But since we are on a road trip and we're now three songs into that road trip, I'm thinking we're hitting those highway speeds right about now. So I'm going to go with Life is a Highway by Rascal
Nice.
Flatts, the version that was in the Cars in 2006.
Oh, very good.
The original is excellent. I love the original, but this just infuses it with a different kind of energy. And I think it's also perfect movie placement. Lightning's on his way to the big race before things go haywire for him. And it's perfect for a road trip. Speaking of road trips, over the years, when the family and I were on hockey road trips, I would always look for a way to play this. I just love listening to it while driving down the highway or the freeway. It's catchy, it's upbeat, it's bluesy, it's got this great, amazing energy. And it also might be the only Rascal Flatts song that I know. So I'm proud I was able to work it in.
No, it's definitely a pick me up, and it is like once you hear it going, everyone just kind of the energy level goes up a little bit. You had that you just had a Red Bull through your
Mm.
ears kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm picturing right now. So I'm not as familiar with the Rascal Flatts one. I've seen the movie, so I know I've heard it, but I'm more familiar with the oh, who's the artist? Tom Cochran, is that it?
I think that's right.
And so I'm picturing Florence and the Machine song winding down, and then you get that opening drum, doo, 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 and then the kicking in. I think that's perfect. I love it. And this, so I don't know if you remember on Pour Over last year when we were going to the Dan Corey and I were going to the Galaxy. I can't think of what it's
Galaxy's
called.
Edge,
Uh,
Batu.
Batu, Galaxy's Edge. It's the ship that went up
Oh,
into the
the Halcyon.
Halcyon. Yeah, thank you. Gosh, it feels like ages ago. Anyway, we did one of these shows in the car while listening to the music, and that song was definitely on that list, I believe. And it is such a classic car tune. Okay, wait, it's a song that's great to play in the car. How's that?
No, 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 no. We are sticking with it's a classic cartoon.
With the classic cartoon. And it's I mean, what else do you listen to in the car than that? I mean, it's fantastic. What a great choice. I love it. Great way to wrap up our first round.
All right, we're flying down that highway. We're heading towards Huey Lewis and the news in New York. Um, so, Ross, what's next on your list?
We're gonna detour to Detroit, and this goes heavy hip hop again with super energy. Lose Yourself by Eminem in 8 Mile. So this is you talk about intensity like this. I'm pretty sure this plays during warm-ups of 75% of sporting venues everywhere you go. Like this is just intense. Because of this song, I got to eat at Mom's Spaghetti in Detroit when I was there a few months ago to see a PWHL game, and that was a special occasion. Um, just everything about it's awesome. Great film. Uh, just really talking about an artist that has overcome a lot to get to where he is, and he caused a ton of controversy, but he changed the world in what he did.
No doubt. No doubt. Uh, I have a story about this song that I'm going to steal from a friend, but Tom, I'd like to hear what you have to say before I get to what I've got.
Oh, good. Because I'm gonna need the time while you're sharing your story. Because confession, I have no idea what this song is. I don't think I probably know
Oh,
it.
you know it. There's no way you don't know this.
Okay, I can't associate it with the name, so I'm in a little bit of trouble here. But I know the artist, and I know that the artist is a powerful, as a powerhouse when it comes to, and the way you're describing it as sort of a like a anthem, no, a stadium, a stadium pump me up kind of song.
Yeah, yeah.
Who I'm gonna have a rough time here looking at my list, but I think I might, but I need to consider here. So, Cope, share your story.
So I'm going to steal this from our mutual friend Simbat Defterdarian.
The world
Yes.
traveler Simbot.
Yeah, world traveler. Yeah, recently returned from Greece. Yep, yep. So he's a hockey coach like myself and Caleb and Luke. He also played hockey for a long time. He played at the collegiate level. He's a fine hockey player. Shoots the puck wide a lot, but that's neither here nor there.
It's on purpose, right?
Never. No, no, no,
Oh.
never. So he told me this story once. He played on this team, and before this big important game, I don't remember exactly the scenario, but it was an important game. The coach, instead of coming into the locker room and giving a big speech or something, he came in, and the team will listen to like pregame music, right? Well, they had turned the music off before the coach came in. So when the coach walked in, he just walked over to the iPod, queued up "Lose Yourself," pressed play, and walked out. Not a word spoken.
That's a move.
Yeah, and according to Simbot, they lost it. They were just pumped to the max. I can't remember if they won or lost, but we'll just say that they won.
I feel that music is powerful in that way. It can replace a verbal message that may go in and out the ears of your players, especially if they're younger. Whereas music makes a connection with people, and if you can feel that energy in music, it's going to motivate you. I mean, it's why they play. It's why they play music at sporting events. It's why they play music in stores and things like that. It's because it puts you into sort of a mindset unconsciously. And so that's a great story. I love that. Music is more powerful than words. Okay. So I'm a little nervous here, you guys. I'm hoping I'm not botching up our playlist. So I've got a song that probably is, it's definitely not the right tone. Okay, so we're going to shift tone here, but it certainly is big energy. I'm a huge fan of not doing this, but watching synchronized dancing, like on a dance floor. And this artist is the queen of it. She has so many songs that have so many synchronized dances. But you're going to know this one. It was one of the top movies from last summer, 2023. And this is Dua Lipa, the Barbie movie, Dance the Night. I just love this song. This song, when we talk about powerful music, supersedes words, this song does it for me. It's so much fun to listen to. You cannot help but getting involved into the groove of it, even if you're in a bad mood. So on this car ride, we just got amped up, and now we're gonna synchronize, and we're gonna be like, oh, and just have fun. We're gonna smile and bring this positivity of this song and the Barbie movie and all of that in with the most wonderful artist, Dua Lipa. I think she's magnificent, beautiful voice, and her videos aren't bad either. And so I'm going with Dance the Night.
I think that's a fun way to come out of Eminem. Like, that's again, it is energy, it's beats, it's she's bringing that fun, and then, even just thinking about that soundtrack, or you mentioning the soundtrack and thinking of the film, and just how fun that was, it all works together.
I have to admit, I'm so ashamed of myself right now in this moment. I love the movie Barbie. We did an episode about Barbie, if you want to go listen to it, go check it out. Not only do I love the movie, but I love the soundtrack. I think the music is insanely good, and I'm so happy that you put this song on the list. I'm so happy about it that I'm going to bump one of my songs for another song in the Barbie movie because I love this choice so much. How did I not think about last summer? Like, how did I not think about Barbie? And I have the perfect follow up.
Well, who knows what you did last summer? So how do we even know?
What timing, Mr. Hollabin? uh, did you have anything else that you wanted to say before I make my choice?
No, I think this is. I had an idea. I think where things were going on the previous episode. This one is so Wild West, and we have now gone from we've got a track from 2000 all the way to what 2023 for Barbie. So,
Yes.
so we've got the full gamut covered now.
Okay, I'm going to put my choice out there. Um, the one that was not even on my list is not even in my potential replacements or honorable mentions. But Tom, you've inspired me, and you've brought back a song that I could not stop listening to last summer. Ross, at one point you said sometimes you have to cheat. So I think I'm going to bend the rules a little. The reason I say that is because the song is in the movie, but I don't believe it's on the official soundtrack. There's a different version of this song on the soundtrack. I'm not going with that version.
Mm.
I'm going with the song that they put in the movie, and that's by the Indigo Girls, Closer to Fine.
Awesome.
There's no better song for our road trip.
Yep.
We're all singing at the top of our lungs, just like Barbie when she was leaving Barbie Land. This is such a happy accident right now. I'm so excited. I have to tell you, I didn't stop listening to this song for like 3 months, and it was a daily basis. It's so high energy, it's so wonderful.
No, it's an incredible song. It is. I, I think it would be fun, and I think a lot of women throughout the world would love to watch the three of us sing along to this anthem while driving along and be like, "What are these idiots doing to this song?" But it's amazing. It was so well used in Barbie. Um, but the original, like it makes me think of Lilith Fair. It makes me think of Ani DeFranco. It makes me like as women in music really started gaining even more and more of a voice and power within the industry, and the Indigo Girls had so much to do with that. So I love this.
I can say I know every word to this song as long as it's being played in front of me. I can sing along with it, and I could belt it out, man. So I can see this on the road right now, the windows down, and I am not ashamed at all to belt this song out because I think it's phenomenal. I I don't think I really understood it as a kid and as a teen, but certainly these days I understand the gist of it and where they're going with this lyrics, the lyrics on this and everything. But I mean, the Indigo Girls are fantastic. I'm struggling to remember what it sounds like and how it's different in the Barbie movie. So it's not the original in the Barbie movie.
Well, I'm not even sure where the one on the soundtrack comes from. I don't remember who performed it.
Mm.
I just remember getting the soundtrack and, and being disappointed. I was like, "Oh wait, this isn't the one from the movie. They're the one they were singing in the car." I don't like I said, I don't know who performs it, but the tone is much more mellow.
Okay.
I remember it being like more reflective, where the one in the movie is just pop, like high energy.
Not when they hit those high notes when they're going together, and it's magic.
Yeah, it's not a fist pump like you would see, like they do in the movie. I'm glad that they used the original in that movie. But the visual of us singing this song in a car driving down the
Beautiful.
highway, that's enough to make me open a TikTok and make a video out of that.
Love it.
Ross, what you got for your seven spot?
So then I'm gonna go from one powerful female anthem to what I find to be another one, and to another Marvel
Mm.
movie. when we talked about the closing credits on the previous episode for a song, this one, when it played, I grabbed Monica's leg and was just like, "Oh my god, this is happening. We're not going anywhere right now." Celebrity Skin
Oh,
by Hole at the end of Captain Marvel. It is I l Courtney Love is awesome. Melissa Auf der Maar on bass. They just shred anyway, but, like, that movie ended and the soundtrack was
mm,
so unbelievable with all the '90s songs they used, but then when it closed with this, uh, I almost jumped out of my seat. I was so excited and was like, "There's no better way for this film to end than going straight into dun dun dun."
I mean, yeah, a powerful song. I love that one, and oh man, sound what am I thinking? Cassette tape, the mixtape. I'm at a loss of words. This mixtape is really coming out as an interesting piece. But Ross, you're spot on, man. And you know what I was thinking along the way when I was putting this together was the Marvel movies really, for me, were the soundtrack of the last 20 years. You know, that music, I mean, there's of course Star Wars, but Star Wars doesn't pull in, popular music and whatnot. It's all original. But Marvel pulled a lot of great stuff for their films, and I think it's what helps make a connection for us to something that's a superhero movie, and I think that's a
Well,
cool.
and teaching younger audiences the music that we grew up with and that we loved coming up.
Yeah. Oh, good point. Yeah. So wow, that's gonna be again, Colby. I'm glad that I went, so you can talk while I think about how I'm going to connect to that song.
I'm just going to spin off the point you just made with your comment about the Marvel soundtracks and their use of music. Guardians of the Galaxy is the one that sort of gets the name up in lights, as far as the standard for Marvel music soundtracks. Um, they've just been great hits. Like those soundtracks have been phenomenal. Maybe not a home run on all three soundtracks, but they've reached base most certainly on all three of them. But you're right. I was just thinking about like Ragnarok, great use of songs. Captain Marvel, incredible soundtrack. And even going back to the very first Iron Man and their use of AC/DC, and of course the song Iron Man. But yeah, Marvel's use of music has been fantastic from the beginning. And what's funny is I don't really look beyond Guardians of the Galaxy movies much, at least for this playlist. But they're all really solid. Was that enough talking for you, Tom?
Yep, I've got it. I've got the connection. So here's how we're gonna do this. Cruising down the road, enjoying this. We're gonna stick with a powerful female singer again, with a song that starts really soft. So we're gonna pull the volume down a little bit, and we're gonna be a little pensive for a few moments while this song is a wave of energy. It starts low, but then we're gonna really let it go. And when you're on a summer trip, dreaming is a big part of it because you're looking at the summer, you're thinking about all just the opportunity in front of you, the beautiful weather, the time outside, the time with friends, the travel, all of that. So you're dreaming. And so I've got the perfect song that's going to bring us to a new mood from the Courtney Love song. So the artist I'm talking about is Pink. The movie I'm talking about is The Greatest Showman, and the song that I'm talking about is A Million Dreams. I think this is, and so this version I do not believe is in the movie, but it's on the soundtrack. So maybe it's in the credits someplace because this in the movie it's sung by the child first, and then Hugh Jackman and the name of the actor, the actress that grows up. I can't remember her name, um, but it has so much opportunity in the language that fits along really well with summer, but it also plays with our emotions as we go down this road and we're listening to a song like this. And I don't know how familiar are you with the musical, but it is a magnificent musical. Somehow I let it slide by in the theaters and didn't watch it until it was on, I don't know, it was on Netflix or someplace like that. And I was like, let's, it was a Saturday afternoon. My daughter was with me. I said, let's watch a musical. Let's do something kind of fun today. And I was absolutely mesmerized. And I was incredibly impressed with Hugh Jackman's ability to be an actor and not just a superhero actor, which I'm pretty sure the rest of the world knew that, but I didn't until I saw that movie. And so I just, this is a song. There's a couple songs in there that I considered for this road trip, but this is the song that I think fits best on this mixtape. So there you go.
Hugh was Les Mis as well, correct?
Oh, that's right. He was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this is there are so many tracks from that album that could fit in this. Like you said,
Mhm.
it flows so well throughout. It's fun. It's one of Monica's favorites to put on if nothing's going on. So we'll just hear the music in the house all the time because
Mhm.
she'll put it on or have it on her iPad or something like that, and it's just like, oh, there's that. Like so many of the tracks on that make me think of the exact scene where the things happened, and that's what should happen in a film.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
one of my favorites. I love this movie. I love the music in the movie. I find it to be so inspiring. So many of the songs. This is Me. The Greatest Showman is a great track. Uh, how many times have we seen it in real life? You know, where a person finds success, loses their way, and then finds their way back. And in a nutshell, that's the movie, right? That's and they do it with great performances. Oh, the song was Zendaya and Zac Efron. Oh, I love that song. You know, these two people, they love each other, but there's things getting in the way. One of them doesn't care about it, about those things, and the other one is just looking at that person as like being unrealistic. It's just a beautiful movie, beautiful story, incredible music. I haven't heard this song that you're talking about, but I know the song from the movie, but I haven't heard Pink's version, so I'm definitely going to be seeking it out.
Cool. So I've given us a little bit of a reset button here for us to take a breath in our trip and kind of start, I don't want to say start over, but just take a deep breath and think a little. And so good luck.
We're at a rest stop.
Maybe a rest stop.
I love how this list is growing organically, and I really didn't expect my reactions to this. And I'm having so much fun because, you know, we've got Barbie setting the tone, then we've got Captain Marvel that's coming along, then Pink is there. So I'm going to continue the same pattern. This was on my list, so it's not something I'm coming out of left field or using a replacement or anything. This was on my list in the 4 spot, but I'm going to move it up to the 3 spot because I think it fits perfectly right here. It's the 2021, it's from the 2021 movie Cruella, and it's the Tina Turner cover of Come Together. If you haven't seen this movie, go watch it because it is so surprisingly good, and the soundtrack is so much more than surprisingly good. The soundtrack is phenomenal, just phenomenal. And this particular song, oh, it 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 sort of kills two birds with one stone for me. Number one, we get Tina Turner and her vocals on it, which are just incredible. And then we also get a Beatles song on the list. And I'll tell you, I feel like this cover is on the same level as Joe Cocker's Little Help from My Friends, which is one of the most famous Beatle cover songs, right?
Well,
Um, it's that good. It's just funky. It's different. I just love it, and you know, I was so surprised and happy with the movie. I remember looking at Sandra while we were watching it and going like, every time a new song would come on in a scene, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this song!" And then the next scene would come on, like, "This song, it's another, it's another level. It's like a perfect soundtrack. It's just so good." But this track for me, "Come Together," this was top of the mountain.
I mean, Tina's hard to top on anything. Just like she is such a queen of everything in the music industry, and it unfortunate to lose her, but she left so much behind that we get to celebrate in moments like this, that it's, that's that legacy, and that's that amazingness and that strength that she really had to play out in a public environment before a lot of other people did. Um, so good on her for being so strong. Good on her for, keep powering through, but then just producing and reinventing herself. Um, just brilliant. So thank you for including her on this.
Just a pillar of strength, just an absolute next level strength of a person. Tom, I could tell by your reactions that you've watched this movie, and that you also like the music.
Confession, I have not watched this movie, and I think what you were recognizing was I've been told so many times that I need to watch this movie. But obviously, I know the song, I know Tina Turner, and I can only imagine that everything you're saying is true and maybe even more. And so I love the placement of it where it is in our playlist. I think it from everything I know about the Beatles and the song and how Tina Turner, I can imagine how she would treat that. I think it's a great song after A Million Dreams. So I got it on my list. It's moving up very quickly. Cruella is. I'm assuming that's on Disney Plus.
Yep, it is.
Okay, good. Easily accessible. I have no excuses not to watch that movie now because it's been told to me numerous times that that's something I've got.
Literally at your fingertips.
Okay, exactly, literally. All right, that's awesome. I love it.
All right, Ross, you're up.
Well, we're gonna go from the pipes of Tina Turner to the pipes of just my favorite guy, Dave Grohl. Breakout from 2000 from Me, Myself, and Irene. And this is a video to go watch because it plays off the actual film. But even where they use it, it is vintage, younger, comedic Dave just going at it. And when the culmination hits in this and he starts screaming breakout, like if I'm driving, I'm hitting the wheel at this point. I am just like the drivers with the steering wheel. I am just like, yes, this is happening right now. And I think Me, Myself, and Irene is hilarious and an undervalued movie.
So I have a question. Is this a Foo Fighter song?
It's Foo Fighters. Yeah.
And Me, Myself, and Irene, is that with Jim Carrey? Because I haven't seen it.
Oh yeah, it is Jim Carrey. You have some laughs in store, buddy.
Okay, well, there goes a few more things on the list. I'm looking forward to hearing all these when I put this list together. Tom, what about you?
I'm in the same camp as you, Colby. I've not seen this movie. If you've listened to this pour over, Jim Carrey is not one of my favorite actors. I think he does some. I think he has some magnificent roles that he plays, but I feel like he struggles to pull away from some of those like craziness parts, and he relies too much on his face for humor. But that's just me. I know I know he's well loved, and he is an amazing actor, but he doesn't always resonate with me. Not to say I don't want to watch this movie now after hearing you say that. And a Foo Fighters song and Dave Grohl in this movie, that's even more more temptation to get into this movie. I mean, Dave Grohl, and I was just looking at, we were just doing some revamping and moving things around in the library, and I saw the Dave Grohl biography in our library, and I'm like,
Storyteller.
yeah, I got to get this into more people's hands. I got to figure out how to do that. But that's as an aside. It's just they just have such a unique sound, and when you hear a Foo Fighter song, you know it's a Foo Fighter song. There's no like, oh, who is that again? No, there's none of that. You know it right away. And so, now I've got the quandary of what comes next after this. I think I'm going to take a risk, but Colby, you've weighed in on the Dave Grohl, right?
I've always admired and been a fan of the Foo Fighters, of their hits, like the stuff that you would hear on the radio, which is a lot because they're just a super successful band. Um, so they've had a lot of hits, and I've heard most of their stuff that was played on the radio before becoming friends with Ross and listening to the album Cockpit Podcast, because Ross is now like he's my number one music influencer. It's, he influences my musical choices to the point where my number one song on my YouTube music recap last year was a Foo Fighters song. So I've sort of come
Nice.
later to the party, but I've always admired Dave Grohl and his work. He's an internet sensation. He's an incredible artist. I mean, you see videos of him bringing people up on stage, like kids up on stage to jam with him. He seems like he's an amazing person. So the more I've gotten to learn about him, I just love what I see. So I've become a much bigger fan, just like even over the last year.
Well, and the same guy who buys all this barbecue and does his own pit barbecue and feeds the homeless. Like that's what he does for his spare time now. It's just like, "Oh, yep, I'm gonna bring my smoker out here. This is what we're gonna do. I learned it in Nashville." And, you know, nicest guy in rock.
Hmm.
Well, and I'll also throw this in with the very first track on this playlist. There's a Dave Grohl acoustic cover of Tiny Dancer that he did on the Craig Kilborn show that you can search and listen to as well, and it's
That's
really fun.
cool. It reminds me, while we're talking about Dave Grohl a little bit, is there's a podcast called Song Exploder, and I wish I could tell you who the host is. He's magnificent. He interviews Dave Grohl with I want to say their newest album, but I don't know if there's something out in the last 6 months. But and he talks about one of the songs, and he just so I'm going to go from once again. I'm going to stick with the something. I've got something similar and something different in this. So I'm going to stick with
It's probably the teacher.
unbelievably recognizable voice, like Dave Grohl's music and Foo Fighters music is unrecognizable. You know what it is when you hear this singer's voice. You know exactly who this is, and it's a song that I did not know or was not familiar with before the movie. And so the movie I'm talking about, you may have already figured out, is I think it's from 2018. It is Elvis, and the song that I chose off of that soundtrack is there's so many that I wanted to choose from that soundtrack. I was like, I really could just I could just use this album as our travel. But is the I've got a feeling in my body, and it is Elvis, but it's the film mix. So they jazz up the music in the film. If you're not familiar with it, um, jazz up. What am I trying to say? They modernize a little bit with a heavier beat in a lot of the cases of the music when they remix it, but it's still Elvis's voice. Now there are also covers by other artists throughout the movie as well, but this one it's a live. At least it opens live. I'm not sure if it remains that way through the entire song, but it's spiritual. It's 1000% Elvis, and it has that like driving Elvis beat that just makes you feel good. And then when you're listening to the lyrics, it makes you feel even better. And I think when I'm thinking about a car ride, Elvis in a car ride it's like peanut butter and jelly. When I think about Elvis and the travels that he would do, well, yeah, okay, sorry. Yes, that would be probably much more appropriate. But when I think about like those artists of that time period where they would travel with their 45 records from county radio station to county radio station, that's how I feel when I listen to an Elvis song. And so, what better song to put into this summer mix than an Elvis song, especially while we're in the car to see Huey Lewis in the news?
Not peanut butter and banana.
Mm.
I'm all for that. Like, I think it is. Uh, Elvis is just so big. It's probably not even. He's probably not someone I think about with music because he's so much larger than life. And I don't think of him with singles. I don't,
Mhm.
and I'm sure I went through as I was researching for this, and singles of his that have appeared in the movies he starred in showed up. And I was just like, I don't know these didn't mean anything to me at the time. Like I'm sure my mom is just like, oh, I love this one because of this and that. But um, it it's terrible to say that I overlook Elvis, but when you do listen, it's it's beautiful. But then I also think back to Public Enemy and, like, their lyrics of, yeah, he stole our music and played it and ran with it. Um, but I think that's what happens with artists and genres is they do grow, and he got to grow it faster, and become a star because of it and made unbelievable music. Um, so I think there are positives to both sides of that, and I think just knowing our history is important, but Elvis made such an impact that it is a great he's a great artist, and this is a great track to have on here for a road trip.
I recently watched an episode of Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee with Jerry Seinfeld. It's not a show that I've ever watched before, but for some reason, and I can't even tell you how I got here, I saw Eddie Murphy was featured on one of the episodes. So it was Jerry Seinfeld driving in some kind of a very super expensive Porsche with Eddie Murphy. They went to a cafe to go get some coffee, and then they were driving back. They had this incredible conversation, and it was just super interesting to hear these two giant comedians in the later stages of their life and their careers. um, they're friends. They both came from Long Island. They both knew each other in New York back in the 70s. And you're both wondering, like, how does this relate to Elvis? Well, it relates to Elvis because Eddie Murphy named him as one of the foundational people in his life, not only just someone that he admired or liked. But I've also heard Eddie Murphy in other interviews talk about how he actually had Elvis's suits, like the ones that he wore, and they were hanging up on his walls. And then at one point he realized, like, why do I have Elvis suits? Take these down. But yeah, he named Elvis, Evil Knievel, and Bruce Lee as three foundational people in his life.
I think it's that star power, and he was everywhere. Like, every record chart, every, top of the film charts. It's he was everywhere. So, like, he was if you wanted to be a star, that was it. And then you factor in Evil Knievel of how big can I get and how big of a mark can I make, and it all makes sense.
And Ross, when you said that about, you don't even think about Elvis. I'm the same way. I think it's because he's so ingrained in our culture and our musical culture that I just never think of it. And I put off watching this movie when it came out. I was like, that dude looks so much like Elvis, and I can't remember who the actor is, but I was like, he looks like identical. But I was like, I've seen an Elvis movie before. I know his story. Well, you know what? This movie presents it in such an odd, sort of strange way. Tom Hanks puts together a masterful uh, uh, performance as his really kind of manipulating sort of manager, and you really kind of are angry at him most of the movie, and you feel kind of bad for Elvis in places, and you're kind of like, I understand how Elvis lost control. I understand how he got to
Yeah.
where he was because he was so tied down by this person. But it was a great movie. I love that the opening of it is so um, not in timeline. It kind of jumps around and it's told from different points of view, and then it finally hits a groove and is told, and it's so good, so good. But that song in the movie and that song playing through my speakers is just a great song. I love it.
I'm looking forward to listening to that. And I'm also looking forward to naming my next choice because I was sort of struggling how I was going to tie this song into an Elvis song, but I found it. I found it. They both came out in the 70s. That's the only connection, but it works for me. And although it came out in the 70s, it was featured in a movie that came out in 2017. So therefore it qualifies. It's one of my favorite songs. I didn't even know it existed until it came out and showed up in this movie. It's another Marvel appearance and another appearance by a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, this time the sequel, number 2. And it is Mr. Blue Sky by Electric Light Orchestra.
Love it.
Very memorable placement because it's happening in the beginning of the movie and the Guardians are on some mission. You might remember they're on a mission to destroy some monster, and it's just mayhem and violence for like 3 minutes. And Baby Groot, he plugs in some speakers, and Mr. Blue Sky starts playing. It's just playing over this entire scene. And I think it's fantastic for a road trip because I'm telling you, our feet, our hands, they're tapping on stuff because that infectious beat, that dun 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 dun, it just doesn't give up.
And it's that head nod.
Oh, head nod all day. And this song partly inspired the Colby Cast. Um, it would be my dream if I could choose any song in the history of the world to be an opening for the Colby Cast. It would be this song, and I'd also use the outro as my outro. I just don't have the ability or the resources to know how to get that done. It's probably not something I'd be able to afford anyway, but still, it's out there. It's an inspiration, and the feel that I get from this song is the feel that I hope people experience when they listen to the Colby Cast because it's just
Cool.
fun. It's just so much fun. So it's really sort of like in the DNA of this podcast, and I absolutely love it. I listened to it again. I listened to it again today, and it's just again ear to ear smile.
Yeah, this is shaping up as a wonderful and unique playlist. Like I don't know that anyone's ever put this group of songs together before. So it's almost like the monster that they're attacking during this scene. It is everywhere. going going after things. But like that's what makes this extra cool is that the DNA of the Colby Cast, and we all have those things that drive us and that are, they may not get mentioned. I mean, you probably haven't mentioned this before on any episode or probably discussions with other people, but it's been there and it's living there. And that's the beauty of film and music and the combinations and what pop culture allows all of us to do and enjoy and share. And I think that's just a beautiful thing.
This song just makes me happy. It's so bouncy and fun, and it's summer. It really is summer. For the longest time, so a couple comments about the song itself, is for the longest time I thought it was a Beatles song. I don't know why. It just sort of has it has a feel for that, but there's also like somewhere deep in the recesses of my mind that I've always known this song from someplace. And it took me a while because I when I rediscovered this song, I don't know, probably right before the pandemic came about. I'd heard it and I was like, that song is so cool, and I feel like I know it. So then I started listening to it and I realized, oh, Electric Light Orchestra. I'm like, oh my gosh, my sister was an ELO fan, and she had so many ELO albums, but she's 9 years older than I am. So when she was listening to that song, I was probably 2, 3, 4 years old. And so I've it's sat in my head for so many years that when I rediscovered it, it was like, I know this from somewhere. And after I discovered it was ELO, I was like, okay, now I know where that comes from. And my gosh, I completely forgot about that scene from Guardians of the Galaxy and how inappropriately this song fits that moment. It's such a horrifying, like bloody and gooey and It's which is what's so beautiful about it. So great choice. I love where this is going. It's gonna really fit together with my we're to our last, right? And Russ, I know you're next, but where this is the last round, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we're now moving into our last round. But before we get to Ross's pick, last fun fact about this song is that Weezer has an absolutely next level cover of it,
what?
and yeah, it's on their Teal album, which is all cover songs. And on certain days, I like the Weezer version better, even better than the original. It's so
Wow.
good.
So is it better than their cover of Africa?
That's hard to beat, especially the story behind it. But I'm gonna say it's at least equal.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
that's awesome. I love hearing that.
I'm looking it up right now.
All right, Mr. H, your next pick.
All right. This is one that if either of you know this, I'll be shocked. But I think it's from a soundtrack that I absolutely love, 500 Days of Summer. And it's not the Hall & Oates song, which is perfectly used with You Make My Dreams in there, but it is Mushaboom by Feist. And it has a fun, quirky video as well. 2009 movie. I think this is a almost trippy way out of your song into this one. And it's very fun. Like, this is summer day playing. Like, you don't even need to know the lyrics really. Like, it can just be playing and it's just like, you know what? This is a good day and we're probably going to see some lightning bugs later, and look at that pretty flower. This is just a good feel good that fits into a fantastic soundtrack from a movie that I very much enjoyed.
I remember seeing this movie once a long time ago, and I liked it. Uh, and if I'm remembering correctly, it has Zoe Deschanel in the movie
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and Joseph
yeah,
Gordon-Levitt.
exactly. Those are the two leads.
Yeah, I love both of those stars. It's actually been on my radar. I wanted to go back and watch it again.
Yeah, just put on the soundtrack. Like, do that even before watching the movie, and you'll be like, I really do need to watch this again then.
I've got so many fun things to listen to and to watch as a result of this episode and the previous episode. I'm just having a blast. I hope you guys I hope you guys are too, and I hope everybody listening can feel how much fun we're having because this is just great.
Oh, most definitely. I couldn't agree with you more. And Ross, you've stumped me. I have no idea what the movie is, and I have no idea what this song is. So I'm punting here, and I'm gonna work off of your it's it sounds like it's a positive song, but it sounds like it's kind of a dreamy kind of song. So I'm gonna stick with the positive vibes as I move on. And I don't mean to just I'm not dismissing your song. I have no idea what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. No, and I apologize for you not knowing anything. I tried
But I
to make
will
it at
after this.
least so that it was. I was like, good. This is good to start the close with.
Okay.
So that's where I thought it would work, even if you didn't know it. But it's definitely
Mhm.
positive and a little dreamy.
Okay. I can definitely work with that. And I can't wait to hear that song and learn more about that because that sounds like the kind of song I would like, quite frankly. Alrighty. So I'm gonna move when I this was the very last movie I came across, and I was like, oh my gosh, how did I not think of this movie first? I, I have no idea. But I was so glad I thought of it because this song couldn't be more appropriate in my mind to be like one of the closing songs of our playlist. And so it's the opening song of this movie. It's an animated movie. And I approached this movie with a little bit of like, side eye. Am I gonna like this? But I was with the kids, and I was like, I think they'll like it because it has animals singing. And the title of the movie just happens to be Sing. I'm sure you've gathered that by now. But this opening song like I was in. I was sold, and I didn't look back. In this, I just fell in love with this movie, and the second one as well. And so the song I'm talking about is performed by Stevie Wonder and the absolutely wonderful Ariana Grande, and the song is Faith. And I just, when I listen to it, I can't be more happy about things, which is exactly in the mindset and place I want to be when I'm on a road trip in the summer. And so the upbeat, knowing that it's Stevie Wonder, I mean, dude, I mean, when we talk about Elvis and we talk about Prince and we talk about, these legendary Dave Grohl, Stevie
Yeah, yeah.
Wonder,
He's there.
he is right there. And he shows up in the funniest places, and when you talk about a good guy, someone who just loves his craft and loves the art and wants to contribute in any way and every way he possibly can. Here we go. He's in a movie with singing animals, and Faith is just such a beautiful song. It's a fun song, and it sets the tone of the movie, and it sets the tone of this summer road trip.
I love this movie. When I first saw the trailer, I was like, yeah, I'm a pass. And I think, of course, it hit streaming somewhere, and it was probably a summer day. There was nothing to do, and then there was nothing to watch, and we decided we were gonna check it out. The movie is I ended up loving the movie, and the music is so catchy. There's a porcupine voiced by Scarlett Johansson that's singing an original song. I found myself getting invested into the characters. Yeah, but the soundtrack and the story, there's so much fun. And this is a great way to head into the home stretch.
And I think in one of them, I think the Struts have a song in either Sing or Sing 2 as well. So like that's fun. Uh, how they bring this to life and walk us through what the music industry is like in a lot of ways, but poking fun at it. eh, They had a blast putting this together, and you can tell. So you get it through the characters, you get it through the animation, you get it through these covers that are being done, and it's just fun. Like it is easy to get lost in, and that's what a good album does, a good soundtrack does, and a great film does. If you can just lose yourself and forget about the world for a little bit, it's done its job, and I think that's what this song and both of the films do for Sing.
The soundtracks are second to none in my mind. They're just so much fun. In fact, when you opened with Tiny Dancer, I almost did a switcheroo and said, I'm Still Standing from Sing, because it is a great rendition of it. And when you think about what's happening in the movie when that song is being played, there's so much that going on that is just, it's so great. But there's probably 5 or 6 songs that I considered for this position, but this is the one that sets the tone of the film. Really made it so I could buy in. And again, like I said, it's a great mood lifter to go along with everything that we're doing here.
But guys, it's a cartoon. It's for kids. It's just a
I know.
cartoon. I mean, just a cartoon.
Just like The Simpsons.
Well, I can't believe it, but I swung through Illinois. Tom, I picked you up. We zoomed through Indianapolis. We picked up Ross. Driving through Ohio, we picked up LJ.
Yeah.
He didn't want to come, but we took him. We just
LJ and
we
Emo
took him in.
one
No
both
choice.
would both fit because we have the family truckster.
Yeah, the family truckster, absolutely.
The
And then
truckster,
we
yeah.
drove that truckster up north. We had to hit the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland because it's within driving distance. I wanted to stop at a Cracker Barrel in Pennsylvania, so we did that. And then New York is in view. Somehow we're making it into New York with no traffic because traffic is just not conducive to this narrative, of a wonderful road trip.
So this isn't the scene from Elf.
Right. We did not walk through the Lincoln Tunnel. We drove through the Lincoln Tunnel, probably at 3 in the morning when there were no cars. And as we did this song came over the speakers in the family truckster. Ain't No Mountain High Enough by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Tayell. featured in Guardians of the Galaxy 2014. This song, oh, look, I'm not a good dancer. I don't pretend to be a good dancer, but this song comes on, I can't sit
It's
still.
great.
I tap my feet, I bop my head. This
Love
song
it.
to me is pure joy. The feel, the beautiful message. I just feel like we're coming to the end of this road trip. We conquered that mountain. We're going to watch Huey Lewis. Well, not actually Huey Lewis, but a musical about Huey Lewis. I'm not sure LJ is going to want to watch that or Emo One. They're probably like, we're good. But yeah, ain't no mountain high enough. This also completes the Guardians of the Galaxy trifecta. We've got songs from all three of those films. Man, this list, it has Marvin Gaye, it has Elvis Presley, Tina Turner, we've got Stevie Wonder, we've got some absolute
Yep.
icons. And I was not expecting that from this list, but I'm so pleased. So, yeah, ain't no mountain high enough. What do you guys think?
No, I think it's great. Like I think that is, we probably stopped at a Dunkin' Donuts at some point on the way into New York and just like that's sipping that coffee right now, working our way in, knowing that New York doesn't sleep. So if it is 3 a.m., we're just starting the next day right now.
I think this playlist that we just created is just like a road trip. It kind of takes some turns. It's got the flat straightaway. It's got hills. It has scenery. It's got everything. I can't, I really, really, I thought last week was a magnificent list, and it was, but this one might be the one I'm most looking forward to hearing in with the context of each song side by side. Sometimes, like, we went through all these great songs, and I'm like, I mean, these are great songs. And I'm like, how will they piece together? Like, how are they going to sound together? And I know we mindfully, made justifications, and we did our best to make those connections. But this one I think is going to oddly really work well. And I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, just the amount of exposition that we've brought with each of these picks. It's not just, oh, this is a great song and it was a fun movie and this is how it's going to work. It's just hearing both of your thoughts. We got a chance to talk about some great people. Dave Grohl, we had a nice conversation about him. That's what this is about. This summertime. This is the kind of stuff that we'd be talking about as these songs are playing on our little road trip to New York. Um, that's what happens. And I'm just thrilled with what we've come up with. And again, I said it already, but I'll just restate it. I've had so much fun, and I hope everybody listening is enjoying it as well. So tell your friends, hey, we want to spread some love and joy. We've got some love and joy. Tell your friends, and again, I'll put this together, and I'm going to put it out there for everyone. Keep your eyes on those services, the streaming services. These playlists are going to be available for everybody to listen. We just hope everybody has a fantastic summer. Are there any honorable mentions or songs or movies you wanted to mention before we head out that didn't make it? I know I have a couple, and I had to make a couple left turns. What about you guys?
Yeah, I've got some quick hits here. So I didn't put anything off of it, and it kind of kills me, but the Garden State soundtrack,
Hmm.
check that out. That has just some amazing songs on there. Um, if you've never seen it, it's animated and it's a French animated film, The Triplets of Belleville. If you have not watched it, do yourself the favor and watch it. I believe there are 7 spoken words, between 7 and 13 spoken words throughout the entire film, and the rest, every character is defined by sound effects.
Oh,
And
cool.
Tom, one of the main characters, one of the big things is the Tour de France.
Oh,
So
nice.
it is cycling based. So I think you'll love it.
Cool.
It's just super fun, and the soundtrack just makes you happy. But without as many lyrics, it's a little harder to put in one of these. Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus from the film Loser.
Wow.
Man of the Hour from Big Fish by Eddie Vedder.
Mm.
And Shallow by Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper in A Star Is Born. They're all great. I don't think they fit with what we were doing here, but they're they're my prime uh they're my prime cuts that didn't join us in this picnic basket.
There's only one that I really wanted. I really wanted to fit something in, but it would have been forced, and I didn't feel right doing it. But in the same vein as The Greatest Showman, I really wanted to get a song from the musical Hamilton in there somehow, but it just wasn't vibing for summer. So I mean,
Next
revolution and
summer?
the bickering of a new government probably just doesn't fit well with summer. But the music is so phenomenal and great that I just thought that maybe there could be something there, but there wasn't. Just you mentioned The Star Is Born. One of my friends suggested music off of that, but like you, Colby, I'd never seen it. I listened to the songs. I was like, "Oh, that's really cool," but without the context of the film, I didn't feel like it was right for me to put it in. And I'm glad I didn't after what you just said, Ross. That it didn't have the vibe. So aside from that,
But if you can find time to watch the film, like, it's beautiful and it's gut wrenching at
mm,
times, but it is absolutely worth the watch.
okay.
Tom, I'm trying so hard not to talk about Hamilton right now because if I start, I mean, it's
Another
already in the
show.
wee hours for you guys. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, it may inspire a new playlist theme. Have either of you heard the Hamilton mixtape? It's a completely different album featuring artists that redo Hamilton songs.
Oh, not yet, but that's now needs to go to the top of the list.
Yeah, it's quite good. I'm not even going to start talking about it. Just Hamilton mixtape, so good. A couple of mine. This is the most surprising one, and this was number one on my list and didn't end up making it. Accidentally in Love, Counting Crows from Shrek 2. I love it. I love that song. I also had stuff from the original Shrek. I'm a Believer, not just the Smash Mouth version, but also a shout out to Eddie Murphy's version at the
Donkey.
end. Absolutely love the end of that movie. All Star, Smash Mouth as well. Um, Here's another opportunity to plug another episode, but Caleb, Luke, and I just talked about Shrek for like an hour and 10 minutes. That was a couple episodes ago, and that was an absolute blast. We talked a lot about the music.
So, and I had my list that I didn't put on the short list. I had the Florence and the Machine track from Cruella.
Nice. I'm telling you, that soundtrack, I mean, it may be for me, I don't know, it may be top five soundtrack since
Oh,
2000. I mean, it's just stellar.
oh my gosh. That's moved up to the top now.
It's solid.
Man, this was a blast. I'm ready. Summer is here. I know technically it's like that date in June or whatever that sort of moves around, but no, summer is here. We have two magnificent playlists. They're constructed with love and thoughts and blood and sweat and tears and a little bit of anxiety, but just the right amount. Um, this was an amazing collaboration, and I thank you both for doing it. I really do. You have all my thanks. And before we finish up, again, remind everybody where you can be found if they want to have some musical advice, because you guys are the ones to go to.
Yeah, no, I think I've talked about me a lot. So I'm gonna say check out the Rebel Base Card podcast and check out the Long Take. Um, Good friends there, and Force Ghost conversations. So let's as we've been spreading the love all night, let's keep doing that here with good friends who are working very hard and doing great things.
I love it. I love it. You always bring the love, Ross, and that's why so many people love you, buddy.
That was great. I can't top that. So I'm just gonna talk about myself. No, what I'll talk about is I mentioned at the end of the last episode is the album playthrough project that I'm doing on my blog. Um, and what I want to say is in the month of June, I'm planning on I'm going to listen through as many musicals as I can get. So my post in July reflecting on June will have musicals, since I've talked a lot about musicals today. So I'm looking forward to that. But it's Seeking Positivity in the Galaxy is the blog there, and love to have you check it out and give me some feedback on Twitter at Draftline, and let me know what you think of the album playthrough project.
No pressure here, Tom, but I need that now. I need to read those posts, so get them going. Um, just go do it. I'm a big musical nerd. I have a long history with it. I don't think that it gets talked about too much, especially in our circles where it's mostly Star Wars, Marvels, movies, and stuff. But yeah, musicals, man, they're so entertaining.
Absolutely.
I'd love to know what everybody thinks about our choices. So let us know what you think. And also remember to send us your selections. We want these playlists to grow and we want people to experience and have fun with them throughout the summer. So let us know what your selections are. I'll add them to the lists and we can see what they turn into at the end of the summer. I really appreciate everybody for listening. If you're new to the podcast, thank you for listening. Tell a friend, get us out there so more people can hear us being dorks. So for Ross and for Tom, this is Colby reminding you to keep the sunshine in your pocket and a good song in your feet. You can find the Colbycast on Twitter and Instagram at the Colbycast. If you're wordy, like me, you can send an email to thecolbycast@gmail.com. Please subscribe to the show and leave a review on your favorite podcast app or wherever you listen to podcasts. This podcast is not endorsed by anyone or anything for that matter. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Colbycast unless otherwise indicated.
That'll do, Donkey. That'll do.